Alright, here's what we're painting on this video. It is a canvas tote little bag that's got this pocket here in the front, and so I painted the pocket. The pocket panel is actually canvas, and this is more of like one of those potato bags or whatever you call them. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful design. So much fun. Of course, I added my bling. Oh, I can't wait to paint this with you guys. Come on, let's get started. Alright everyone, I am so excited to start this design for you on this video. I am going to be using on this fabric these media fluid acrylics. I love these paints, and I've had in my mind for several months now to paint on fabric with them because I just love how vibrant their colors are, and I just knew on fabric it was going to be amazing. So that is what we're going to do here today. We're going to start on this floral design that I've drawn on here. And how I want to use these paints is more like a watercolor. So I'm going to have plenty of water in my brush and get just a little bit of paint on the edge and see how it's watered out right there. I like that. So I want to keep that. I want it to be watery like that. So we'll just start right here in this petal right here in the middle, and we're just going to put our paint down where we want our darkest color to be. Now I'm just going to go dip my paintbrush into some clean water. When this gets dirty, I'll dip over here in clean water, or you can spritz your palette with clean water like I always do. I'm going to touch my paper towel to get the excess out because I want this to be more thin as we go out, a lighter color as I go out to the edge out here. And create the petal. I want it to go from a dark to a light and be kind of gradual, and you can even have spaces in there that no paint hits at all. So that is a good thing too. I'm going to move over a petal and go, just in case that's really wet on that side. I don't want to cause it to bleed. Now this particular fabric, it doesn't bleed on very easily, which I really like. This is a bag from Hobby Lobby. It had this canvas panel. It's actually a pocket on the front of it, which made it perfect for sliding a piece of cardboard down behind it and it keeping tightly in there. Okay, now for my next petal, I am going to tip into a little bit of that darker color, and we'll just give a little bit of variance of color to our petals here. This is a little bit more of a pinky red. And I'm just working that water edge because there's water on this side and paint on this side, but because I let the paint kind of scoot over into the water over here, I can just go over there and pick up a little bit of that tinted water and finish out the petal there. Let's do another one with that color. Now this one has a turned edge on it. So I'm going to try with this big old giant brush I'm using to get that effect here. So we want a little bit on the outside edge and a little bit underneath it, and then I'm just going to get some water and kind of fill in up here. You can definitely go to a smaller brush here. And then just kind of bring that out and up. And a little bit darker out here. And let's bring this down a little bit. Kind of get a turned look there. I kind of like that. Now, if you get it to where too much paint covers it, let's just take a wet brush. Let me zoom in here. You probably like to see a little bit better. and I can go right here and into that area that I painted. I can remove some of those top layers of paint right there, and that will make that lighter. So another thing to remember, let me wide angle out, is when you're painting this, you want to tuck your handles inside, because if you're turning your project around, you're likely to get it into paint, and that won't be very good at all. Also, another tip that I learned on the first thing that I painted was that you want to make sure when you put paint out on your palette, you have no paint on your hands, because I transferred fingerprints onto one of my designs and couldn't get it off. So this is not a design I have to worry about washing. I probably won't ever wash this bag, so I don't have to worry about. Get a little bit more water in my brush. I want to be able to scoot that paint out, and I'm just scooting it out with the water edge of my brush, because there's just a tiny bit of paint has scooted over there, and I don't have that up all the way. Let's see, this one here has a turned edge on it too, so let me try to see. My pattern lines are not very dark, so I'm not seeing what I want to see here. It's got a little edge right there. And so we'll bring that down, make it look definitely turned. And so we got a couple little turned leaves right there, and that's how easy it is to paint on this fabric and to get your light colors without coming back in and adding a white or whatever to it. This is very similar to watercolor painting, except I'm not pre-dampening like you can do in watercolor. I am not a watercolor painter, so I can't give you specific details on watercoloring, but this is from things that I've seen from watercolor artists. This appears to be a very similar way of painting, only we're just doing it on fabric. Now this one again has a turned edge right here, so darken that and along that edge, and we'll go right here on this edge. I'm just using the very corner of the brush, and now I'm gonna pick up some water and work some of that paint into there. A little bit more water. A little more paint. And then I want mostly water and the rest of it to create just that tinted water. So all I did was pick up a drop of water off my palette, and it's blending with the paint. The paint's on this edge, the water's on this edge, but the paint is going all the way across, lightly all the way across. So I can just pick up water on that edge and paint it out. So there we have, get my thing from turning here, because there we've got that petal. Alright, so I'm going to go to my next one. I always dip my brush in water before I go to my paint. And I've got all this thin paint here. I'm going to go with this color this time. So I've got some nice sheer color on my brush here. And when I want water, I'm going to go over here to where I've spritzed it. Alright, I'm going to go to this one. We're going to be putting some centers in these flowers, so I kind of want to bring them together for now. We'll bring them together for now. Okay, nice dark color. I'm going to pick up some water and just work that out to the edge. And we can always come back and put a second layer on here, to darken areas. Alright, I'm going to get both of the colors, so I just picked up the first color and mixing it with the second color. Now this one has a turned edge on it too. we're going to go here. I'm going to get a little bit more of color that I put in that one. And then it's turned here and along the back. Now just water. Blend that out. And I'll make it darker on this edge. Be more the shadowy edge, I guess. And then just water. And you can have a separate brush that you use just for water and tinted waters to finish out your petals if you want. And we're just going to continue all the way for every single flower. Alright, I just want water now, so I'm just going to pick it up. I'm going to start the water right where I left off with my paint so I can gently blend that. And then just work it out to the rest of the flower. And then one more petal here. Pick up just water. I'm going to start here where I left my paint off and just let it fade away out to that edge. A little bit more color in there. There we go. That looks really pretty. Alright, two flowers, well, the petal's done at least. We'll come back and add, darkening colors if we need to. But sometimes you don't always need to add those darker colors in there, so. Alright, I'm going to move up here to this one. So this flower lays on top of this one. So I'm going to start here. Maybe make this edge a little bit darker by pulling the paint down that edge. Now I'm just going to get water. Start right there where I left off and just work that water all the way out to the edge. Okay, so let me see my pattern lines here. This is one petal here and this is one petal here, so I'm thinking that these petals divide right there because I can't really see my pattern line that I drew in here. This petal is going to stay fairly dark because it goes underneath that petal. So I'm just going to take the water edge and get a little bit more water and just let that fill in right there. But the majority of that one's going to stay dark. And I just want you to bounce back and forth between your colors on your palette and mix and pick up colors that you like. If you want to blend them every time. I like to pick up just, do one color here and then another color there and then blend them. And alright, I'm going to put this a little dark out here. Now I just want water. And I'm going to start right here where I left my paint off and just bring that out. I'm going to wipe my brush off because I want even less color out here on this edge. And this petal goes underneath this one, so we don't see all of it right there. Alright, we've got this one. And again, this is a turned one. We'll keep it dark there. And a little bit darker there. Now I'm just going to get some clean water and gently work that out right there. And then as well here, I'm going to lay a little bit of paint right there where I left off so I make sure it's wet. And then just work the water the rest of the way. I'm going to darken just slightly under here. Okay, and that's how we get that turned look there. Really work the paint into your brush before you go to your canvas, your bag here, unless you're wanting some super, super rich dark colors. Because these colors are so pigmented, you do not need a whole lot of paint on your brush at all. I got out of line right there. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to extend my flower a little bit. I'm going to wipe my brush off, clean water, and let it just fade away out here. Okay, 3 flowers done. That hasn't taken us hardly any time at all. Okay, I'm going to bounce over to, I think I'm going to bounce over to this one down here. And fill it in. And this one is not turned, I don't think. Let me look at my pattern lines. Nope, this one has no turned petals on it, so that's good. I'm trying to see where the edge of my flower is. And I'm just gonna pick up some water here. It's kind of got a little curve at the end of it, at least on my pattern that I have in front of me. That's how it looks. So it's good to keep your pattern close to you when you're painting this in, so that you can, if you can't see your lines real well, then you can look at your pattern. And all I did was transfer it on with some gray graphite paper. So, but you could use Choco paper, you know, if you want. I don't generally use that, but it's probably a good product. I'm gonna have to get me some and try it. I can't remember the last time I ever tried it, so. Alright. Alright, pick up some water here. And just start working this out. I'm gonna wipe my brush off. Some clean water, because I want this really light out here. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I think I might mix this one with some of that other color. Alright, picked up some clean water, and now I'm just going to work this out. If it's not pulling out like I want, I'm going to lay a little bit of paint in there and go into it with the water and just pull it. And scoot. I'm just scooting the brush towards the end of the petal. And as this dries and kind of soaks down into the fabric, then you'll be able to see exactly, you know, what petals you want to come back and darken a little bit. Okay, this petal comes down in here. Goes around this petal, so we'll make this dark here, and then I'm just going to get the water and work that out. I'm using clean water when I do this, so that I can just take my clean edge and go into a little bit of that paint and begin pulling it out. Alright, one more petal here. And it's underneath this petal, so we'll go ahead and darken here. And just make this whole edge of this one dark. And then get some water and start, lay a little paint in there. I need a little bit more. And these canvas bags can be a little tough on your brushes. So you want to use a little bit older brushes, but still, you know, have some good edges to them. So some that you don't mind if they get a little bit worn on this project. Alright, let's skip up to this one here. We're going to go with this one. This one is behind a lot of things. It's behind the branch here, so we just see a little piece of that one. It's behind this flower, and it's behind this leaf. Okay, so let me look at my lines here. This one that goes behind the leaf, we'll start with it. And we'll just make this edge dark. And a little dark down here in the center. And now I'm just going to get some water and work that out. This paint goes a long way, so once you put a little bit of paint out on your palette, you probably have enough to do all of the flowers. You know, it takes just a small amount of this paint, so do not put a whole bunch out the first time out, because you'll have way more than you need. That's why it comes in these little bitty bottles, because you just don't need much. Just pure pigmented paint here, and it is just a pleasure to work with. Okay, so we've got a, this petal goes underneath, which I can't see my line there, goes underneath this stem thing. Let me look at my pattern lines. And then the leaf is right here, which I think you can see. So most of this petal here is going to be dark, because it goes under the leaf and it goes under the stem. And let me see if we can see it coming out anywhere. Actually, I have it laying on top of this and coming out over here. So it actually lays on top of the stem, and I just went onto that flower. Okay, that's my leaf, that's my flower petal. Okay, don't do what I just did, but it's no big deal if you do. Don't stress out. Alright, so my other petals, let's see, I've got a little piece of one that is tucked under here, and it goes behind that leaf, so we don't really see any more of it than this. Pull all those down. And then our last one goes underneath this leaf here, or this petal. So we'll make it dark there. And then I'm just going to take the water and smooth it out. Oops. This petal lays on top of this flower and this flower, so we might see a little bit of this peeking out over here, so I'm going to put a little bit right there. That's really all we're going to see of that petal. The rest of it goes behind that leaf. Okay, 2 flowers left, so I'm going to go down to this one. Little drop more paint here. Right. A lot of water in my brush with this one, so it will probably fade down into the canvas here. Let's see, where does this petal go? It goes underneath this flower, so let me make it dark here. And then we'll just kind of work it out. this one. Get some water. Add a little paint in there. This one has a little bump in its end. This one is turned, so it's got a turned edge right there. So we'll make it dark all along this back edge. And then here's the turned part. And we'll just kind of work that paint out to the edge. A little darker than what I wanted. Come back and try and remove some of that. Alright, take my damp brush and just go onto that place where I want less paint. Rinse my brush off, take some of the water out, and just go right back there. So we get a little bit of a highlight there. Okay, this is the petal that comes over. Grab some water here. Work that out to the end. So it's over the leaf and a little bit over that petal there. A little bit of water. A little bit more paint in there, and then I'm just going to pull it out with that water edge. A little bit more water. Oh, these are so pretty. So pretty. One more flower to do up here. Then I'm going to wide angle out and show you how it's looking so far. Alright, grab some water and we'll just pull that paint out. I'm going to wipe my brush off and get a little bit more clean water and keep it a little bit lighter out there. So pretty! Alright, put some paint out. I'm checking my fingers because this is when I get it on my hands and transfer it all over my bag, and I've already transferred it on the edge over here. And that really does not make me happy. So, make sure you don't have it on your hands. It's very important. Alright, let's go to this one here. And it is underneath both of these. Alright, I'm going to grab some water and just work that petal out to its shape. And then this one here is underneath this one. So I'm going to work water out to the rest of the petal there. Just want to keep those nice variations of color by using the water and pulling that paint out. Okay, and then this petal, let me draw it because I can't really see it. It comes out Somewhere around in there. So it's going to be dark where it's next to all these other petals. And then we'll just pull it out and finish it off. And I think it needs to come a little bit more here. There we go, that shapes it a little bit better. Alright, I'm going to wide angle out so that you can see how far we've gotten. So pretty! I love it. Love, 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 love it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I think we'll work on our stem next and get it out of the way, and then we can work on our leaves. We'll come back and finish the centers of the flowers off, and then I've got a couple butterflies on here we're going to do. Oh my gosh, I am loving this. Alright, let's get ready for our stem here. And we're going to use burnt umber. And I'm going to add some water to it so that it is a little bit thin. And we'll go in and start. I'm going to definitely be looking at my pattern for this because I'm having a hard time seeing my line. So this one has a branch that comes off this way. I don't think I'm quite following my line here, because it goes underneath that and then it comes out over here. Yeah, I need to widen it. It needs to be a little bit fatter, more substantial to hold these beautiful flowers. Don't have too much water in your brush because then it's going to bleed into your flower petals. And let's see, this is really thin here. It gets thicker as it comes down here. I just picked up some water and then just pulled that paint all the way out here. Because I really want this to stay a little bit lighter. I don't want it to be as dark as what I've got it back here. I'm going to try and remove a little bit of that. It may already be too dried in there. I don't want it in my flowers. Just a slightly damp brush, kind of rub it into that paint. I just want to remove a little bit of it, if I can. Okay, that's better. Not quite as dark. I can work with that. Okay, and this branch kind of bends this way. So it's coming behind this flower and then it is bending this way. Oh, I'm not following my lines here. Had too much water in my brush, so that paint just went right into my flower, which I'm not really overly concerned with because we're going to put some centers in these flowers that are going to be a little dark. So man, that's not even following my lines. Alright. It's curving down this way. If it's coming up this way, it's coming through here. I'm going to have to make it a little bit different. Alright, I'll just make it a little bit wider down here. I think my pattern line's actually drawn with the tip of that the other direction, but alright, I'm going to put some paint in there and I'm going to start pulling it out with a damp brush. Okay, let's see, we've got some small branches coming out over here. A small one that comes from back here. So we're going to lay a little paint in there and take my damp brush and pull this out and let it kind of thin and fade away up to that leaf. And a little bit. It's got a leaf going there, and we can bring some extra little stuff coming off of it. We don't have to keep it tight and confined. I think up here I did a little bit. Oh, I drew a little bit coming off, so we can just be a little creative here. And let's see, we've got this stem that is coming down this way and coming out right here, and it's got stuff over here, and then we can just go along here and create some little stem things coming off if you want. Keep it fun. Let's see, we've got a leaf here, maybe a little bit here. And let's put one coming off from back here. I have this very watery, so there's not much paint on there at all. Okay, I think we'll leave it there for now, and after we get our leaves painted in, we'll come in and see what we want to do to add to that. And so we're going to do our leaves next. And you might want to have a variety of brushes sizes out for the leaves. So we're going to start by basing them in with a really bright green, and then we're going to come back and add some dark greens to it. This is green gold. So I'm going to start with my large brush here again. And I'll just start up here at the top and see how I like this color. If I think it's too bright, I might go ahead and add some of that darker color in there, but this is a very fun, bright piece, and I want to keep it kind of bright. So, green gold. And you can shape your leaves, you know, the edges of your leaves, if you want them to have like, rough edges, then you can do that. On the lighter edge, you may not see them as well. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of this darker in there. Camera for that. I'm going to have to wide angle out a little bit. Ooh, pretty. So bright. Like it. Alright, just paint all your leaves in with this color. And we'll come back and add detail. Just like we did our flowers, we'll keep it really dark at the base and then kind of walk it out. Some of the leaves have some turned areas on them, and we'll certainly add those in as well. This leaf, I want it to have a little bit more detail to its edge. Very pretty. Alright, I've got one up here. Can't really tell where I drew it here, so I'm just going to wing it. Oh, how pretty is this? I love it. Okay, this one is one of the ones that has a turned edge. So I'm going to put some of the paint, straight paint, right down in there. Give us our curved edge. And then back here. Give this one a little bit of character on its edge. I'm just pushing the brush and letting the point create. And then down here we'll just have some light color. Now we can create that little bit of a fold. So much fun. Man, I can't wait for you guys to paint this. This is just the funnest. Alright, we've got this leaf here. really close up to that branch. And I definitely want some detail on this bigger leaf. I'm going to push out and make some like jagged edges. And on this side as well. So gorgeous. A little bit more paint. Check my hands for paint so I don't transfer it. Especially this hand, because this is the one that I use to move it. So I want to make sure it's alright, we got this leaf here, which goes around this petal. And beside this petal. So we can still create some, you know, little jagged areas here. Along this edge. Gorgeous. Alright, we've got 3 more leaves to go here. I've got this one. Goes under this flower here and under this one. So don't use as much water when you're going around your flowers so it won't bleed into your flower petals. But don't stress out if it does, because it will make the flowers look a little more natural. And let's see, oh, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more flowers. And this one's a turned one. And I might make this one a turned one. Let me find my pencil. So I think I might have it come around this way. Something like that. I'll get it in there, I promise. When it's painted, it will look much better. Alright, I've got a big flower, or big leaf here. And the rest of them will be little. And it goes around that flower petal. So much fun. Man, I hope you're having fun, because this is just a happy day for me when I can sit down and paint and create without very little effort whatsoever. Okay, here is one of the turned ones. So let me look how I drew it. So it's turned here. And put some of this darker color at the base. stuff in through here. Just a little bit more paint to finish out these last two. Clean my finger off. And then this last one that I made turned, so I want it turned here on this edge. So my darkest color's going in there. And hopefully I'll keep you on camera for this. And then where's this? Yeah, I completely changed it, so I'll put the back of it back here. Sharper with my color here. Let's come over a little bit. Let's get some more definition here. And then right here on the tip, it's going to be lighter, and you can go to a smaller brush if you know using a bigger brush is not what you like to do. That needs to look like it's around that flower. Petal. It needs to look like it's on top. Alright, let me wide angle out so you can see the bag. And, ooh, aren't those pretty leaves? My goodness, I love those. We're going to add a little bit of color and a little bit of detail to them, and then they'll be finished. And we'll go back and finish the centers in our flowers and get those ready. Oh, drop a color there. And, oh my gosh, loving it. Beautiful, gorgeous. I might bring a little bit more veining of some burnt umber through here. First I want to bring this a little bit bigger. Some coming up here. I don't know what kind of flowers these are. They're just some flowers I drew that I wanted to make very pretty colors. So I don't know, you know, if they have this kind of stuff going off of them or not. But my interpretation of what I see in my head, so there we go. Very lightly. Okay, we're going to have to bring something for this one to connect to. So I'm going to put a stem coming through here. That will be coming for that particular leaf, and then we can put some stuff coming above it down here. And maybe some coming out from underneath it. This flows so very nicely onto this fabric. Where you can make those nice thin little lines on there. So pretty. Okay, I'm not going to worry about doing the stems that connect the leaves yet, because we want to go in and add a little bit more detail to them. Now, I was thinking of using this little bit brighter green on the leaves. I'm not really sure. I think I'm going to practice this color first. Okay, I've decided I'm just going to keep it the color it is, but I'm going to deepen at the base of these leaves with that same color. So I'm just going to go back in and put more of this color in where I want it to be the darkest. Just straight paint. We don't need to have it watered down. We're just creating a little bit more depth in here at the base of these leaves, and this should go fairly quickly in all of your shadowy areas. Very nice. This leaf goes behind that flower, or that flower is on top of that leaf. I'm not really sure, but we'll make it dark on that edge. Thought I had enough, but a little short. And this one, blend that out a little bit. Sharpen up this edge a little bit. I want to see the points. Okay, wide angle. I like to see the whole bag so I can see how it's looking. Okay, that looks really nice. Now we'll add some veins and connect them to the tree. Okay, I've got my burnt umber and the green that we painted the leaves in, and I'm just going to mix them together to make this dirty green here. And this is what we're going to use for our veins, and connecting them to the branch. And then we'll just create some This is very light. We don't want it to be so dark that it's extremely noticeable. So you've got a lot, you should have a lot of water in your mix to keep it a nice sheer color. And this one, I think I'm going to have it connect from back here. Mix a little bit more, add some water to it, and thin it down. A very subtle little vein in there, so don't try to make it super dark so it stands out. We just want to barely see it. You want to connect, like, you know, over the branch, and, you know, do some things like that so that it makes it look, you know, more like it's growing in nature, because that's the way things do. They don't just grow straight out from the branch. Not all of them grow straight out from the branch, so. See, now you would have thought that one was connected to there, but no, that's just the end of the stem. Here is where the leaf is connecting from. And one more. Okay, that looks really good. All right, let's work on the centers of our flowers. We're going to add some fun detail in there. Okay, I think I know what I want to do for the centers here, because I had several options of what I was going to go for. And then in the end, I think I have decided to make a bright yellowish orange color by mixing my yellow and my orange. I want a super bright color here. I'm going to wash my brush out and reload it. I'm going to try it on one. If I don't like it, then I'm going to remove it. And try something else. I want a little touch of orange in the center. Maybe a little bit more yellow in the mix. Just very tightly in the center. I don't want it going out very far. Don't take it too far. You can add a little bit more yellow into it to get the center a little bit more on the yellow side if you want. This is just staying right in the very center. I think I'll add a little bit more yellow. Some more yellow out. I think maybe the yellow by itself will be okay because it's laying on top of that red and it's making it look a little orange. I'll give it a try on this one because it's also going to fade back in there a little bit. I think the yellow will do just fine. It'll probably take 2 coats to get it bright, to match the brightness of the rest of the flowers, but I think we'll go with just straight yellow. Very much just in the center of the flower. Oops. Picked up some orange, so let me remove that. I do not want that on there. That's not the color I'm going for. Alright, just yellow. Go back up here and redo this one. Oh, how fun is that? So fun. If you like the orange better, you can go with the orange. We're going to be using these 2 colors, this yellow and the orange, in our butterflies, so we'll be carrying that color on the design. Go back up here and repeat a little bit. And we'll need to let that dry before we can dot in our centers. Put a little bit more on a couple of these up here because I put orange on it first. So, and you can do that too. You can put the orange and then you can add some yellow back on top. it will give it a completely different look. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, I'm going to streak a little bit of orange, maybe, or maybe I'll do yellow, or a branch. Just a little bit of a highlight. We can come back in and darken our brown. The burnt umber, you can go back in and get a little bit more darkness in here. Especially want it darker where it's, you know, next to. And I think I might actually try floating that. And I'm going to add a tiny little bit of black to that burnt umber just to darken it. Burnt umber is a pretty transparent color no matter what kind of paint you're using. Just want it where it's next to something, and then on the left side of the branch. Too much black in my mix here. For the thinner branches over here, I'm going to get a little bit of darker edge on them, but I'm using straight burnt umber. Just the ones that are a little thicker. The thinner ones we don't have to worry about those. Just burnt umber. I don't want that black in there that's okay, let's dot the center of our flowers with that green. Or we can use burnt umber, or let's see, that green might not show up. Let's actually put a black dot in there. So I'm going to remove that. And we'll do a black dot in the center of our flowers. Just kind of tap it in there. Make it a little irregular so it looks a little more natural. Wide angle out. Oh, that's so pretty. pretty, 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 pretty. All right, let's work on our butterflies. And we're going to paint them in with our two red colors. No, we're not. We're painting them in with orange and yellow. I was going to make them orange and yellow so I could bring those colors out. So not our reds, our orange and yellows. I think I'm going to have to go back and darken some more yellow down in these down here. Get the yellow a little bit brighter, but I want to make sure that black is completely dry before I do that. Alright, so I'm going to start with the yellow up here. So mostly yellow in the upper wing. I'm going to go ahead and do both of them. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of orange, and we'll go on the bottom edge. And let that kind of work up into there and blend it up into that yellow. I'm going to be painting black lines over this, so some of this we won't even see. So don't worry about how it's blended. You just want the paint to be on there. Okay, we're going to do the same down here to this one. So it's going to have yellow on the upper part of it. Not sure what that was, a bristle of some kind, probably off the bag itself. And up here. Alright, then we're going to get our orange. Put that down here. And blend them. Okay, we'll come back in and add our detail lines to those. We're going to do the same to this one up here. And we have, how many wings do we have on this one? Let me find my line drawing. It's over here somewhere. You can see three of our wings. We've got one here. And this one here. And this one here. So all of the yellow will be next to the body. And then we'll go get our orange. Blend it out. See my line here. And the last one, a little bit too much paint there. Okay, so we've got our 3 wings there. And we have to let it dry, and we'll come in and add our detail lines in. We'll go ahead and paint the body in with the black. And then the rest of the butterfly will have to wait until it's completely dry. My black feels dry down there, so I can outline the shape. Now, if you've got a lot of water in the paint that you painted on the body, don't do this until after your wings are dry, because the black is just going to bleed over into your wings. Little bitty antennas. You can shape your body however you want to shape it. And so this one, I can't really see my lines, but I've got a little head here, and then a fat little body. And then a tail. And like I said, you can add more detail to these if you want. You can put little legs on them and all that stuff. But I'm just kind of keeping it simple. Okay, let me go back to my flowers here. I think they might be dry enough to add some yellow. I want to get all the moisture out of my brush, because I just want straight paint in here. Orange again. Now I keep doing that. Diving right into it. Try not to get it onto my black paint, but get as close to it as I can. So before you add your black in there, you might want to make sure that your centers are as bright as you want them to be, so you don't have to come back and do it. But we can always go back in and retap our black center back in. It's not a big deal. Just a little dab will do you. So make a fun little bag to carry your book to the beach in. I might put a little, not really sure. I was thinking about putting a little yellow highlights in the center here. Not sure about that. I think I'm just going to leave them black. Alright, we got to get our wings dry, and we'll finish out the butterflies. Wide angle out. Oh, that's looking so pretty. You know what? While we have this red out on our palette, I think I might darken a couple of areas. So this is where, while you're waiting for your butterfly to dry, you can go in and kind of brighten and define and just wiggle in a little paint here and there. And just create a little bit more depth. You don't necessarily have to do this because it looked just fine the way it was, but if it's something that you want to do, then go for it. I'm going to try not to have a lot of water in my paint or in my brush so that I can be using more straight paint so I can get a little bit more vibrant color here. Oops. Don't really want that out there in my white area. Oh, there I got yellow. Fun. Okay, where was I? Reds. Put a little bit under there. So I'm just kind of taking the very toe of the brush and just kind of scrubbing some, maybe next to that yellow, letting it kind of pull out and create a little bit more depth within the petals themselves. And any place I feel like it needs to be a little bit darker. So this is darker under here. This one I feel needs a lot more color. It's a very light flower. So just wiggle some in there. Create some beautiful depths in this. Alright, what do we got here? This one goes under this one. This is turned, so we definitely want to define that a little bit more. Remember if I did this one. That's a turned one. And that one's turned. Well, I don't think I missed any, so. I'm just looking over it to see if there's any place that I want to make sure that the dark area is defined. I love this design. I think it turned out beautiful. Just gorgeous. Alright, so you can just kind of do that, play around with it, create some little bit darker values in there, and have a lot of fun with it. I'm trying to decide if I want to put some of the pinks on the leaves. I really like the leaves being bright. I want the flowers bright, I want the leaves bright, I want the butterflies bright, I want this whole project to remain just bright and beautiful. So I really think in front of me it shows much brighter than it shows on my monitor. So hopefully the video will show how bright it is, because it is just stunning. Alright, I think I found my pencil. And I'm going to draw some shapes on my wings. I may not necessarily draw them exactly like my pattern lines are. So, you know, you just be creative with your wings and do what you would like. But I'm just going to look at what I drew out and try to copy it. And I'm just using a black charcoal pencil, because it will draw on this very easily. So I'm going to have a big loop here. I don't think this is anything how I drew it, so now I'm just going to have some circles out here. So I'm going to paint around all those lines with black. So let me go over and do this one, see if I can draw it very similar. Well, sort of similar. My wing doesn't seem to go out as far as it needs to go. It needs to come out here so I can draw another circle over there. Alright, down here on the lower wings, it's similar. So I'm going to start with a big one here coming off the center. And I'll have one here and here and here and here, here, and then I'm going to do some like teardrops and some circles, and then circles out here. So I know that one doesn't match that one at all, so alright, I'm going to define my wing here and here, and then again I'm just going to kind of wing it. Okay, so there it is, drawn in there, for better or worse. Whatever works for you, whatever pattern you want to do. If you want to paint it black and paint the colors on top, you can do that as well. The yellows and oranges may not show up as well on the black, but you can certainly do it. So fresh black out, and we're going to outline everything. I'm just going to use a 1 round brush. I do need to fill in a little bit in the body here, a little bit. It didn't quite cover. Alright, here we go. Make sure I don't have any paint on my hand that I'm transferring somewhere. I'm going to outline it. Now, after you outline it, you can get just a little bit of water in your paint. And then you're going to outline everything that you drew in here. And don't worry about making it perfect. I mean your shapes. Don't worry about making your shapes perfect. And then you're just going to fill in with the black in between all of your outline lines. And you can come back and do this as many times as you need to get it as fine of detail as you like. But this is where you want to have the water thin down a little bit so that it comes off of your brush more like ink. And then you're not working so hard to fill in. I'm going to darken these lines here. Okay, so there's one wing done. I'm going to do this one, then I'll just go off camera and finish them because it's very repetitive and you'll just be doing the same thing. Okay, then outline. This is where you can have your paint, the inky consistency. When you're outlining outside, on the outside, you want to keep it just straight paint. You don't want it to be watered down because it could bleed a little bit. And then fill in around all of your lines. Any spaces that are open. to thin your paint with water will make it go so much faster. You want your paint inky consistency. I mean, this paint is already a beautiful paint to paint with, but you want it just a little bit thinner when you're filling in big areas like this. Okay, there we go. We got the 2 wings on this one done. Make sure your lines come up and meet your body. Don't let them stop short. So I'm going to go off camera and paint these other 2 wings and these wings in because they are just exactly the same way. Okay, so I've got my butterflies done. They're drying. We're going to add some other stuff to them here in a minute, but I've decided my flowers just don't pop enough. So I'm taking a little bit of a brighter green. This is Viridian. And I'm going to put this at the base. And give them a little bit brighter. Pop of color here. We can go right over our veins that we've already created, not a problem. I have to get a new paper towel. That one is so coated with paint, I keep picking up paint from it. I think this is a nice bright complement to our palette here. Putting it on the same way. Got some water in my brush and working that paint in there with that water. Yes, that's adding a nice beautiful pop of color in there. I really like that. String or something there. This is definitely the color that it needed. So I was kind of on the fence about it. Well, it does need that extra little pop of color, so let's just put it in there. And yes, just what it needed. Okay, I don't think we missed any. I think I want a little bit more here. A little bit more of a shadowy color here. Yes, beautiful. Beautiful. All right, now, so the last thing that I'm going to do to this design, and it is completely and totally up to you. If you like it just like this and don't want to add anything else to it, you don't have to, but I am just one of those girls who likes my bling. So we're going to add some Glamour Dust Ice Crystal on it, and generally I add it on the butterflies to make them really pop, but we could add it on just the flowers. I think what I'm going to do is add it on the butterflies, and then I'm going to come in and do just some random petals on the flowers. I think that will be beautiful. So let's just bling them up here. Now, like I said, this is an optional step. If you don't want any bling on yours, then don't bling them up. But I am the queen of bling, I think, because I could put it on everything if I could get away with it. It just makes me so happy to put a little bit of sparkle in my paintings. And I just think this gives it that extra little fun step that is really going to make people notice your bag, and they're going to be like, where did you get that bag? And you can say, why, I painted it. I'm taking orders. But only if you want to take orders. Because it's a pretty fun, fast little project. It's just remembering to start out with very sheer colors, because you can come back and add more and darken everything. And to keep from using whites and cream colors and things like that, which white would be a little stark for the background color of this, you just make sure your colors are thin enough that you can still see some of that background in there. Now, when I put Glamour Dust on, generally I apply a couple of coats, but on this canvas bag, one coat might be enough, might be all that we need. So I will leave that option to you. I'm sure I'm gonna do some random petals, and I think on those I will probably definitely do 2 coats. Love me Glamour Dust. Glamour, glamour, glamour. And you could paint your flowers any colors that you want, your butterflies any colors that you want, your leaves any colors that you want, so you can be creative and do some of your favorite colors. Oh, that is just, it's not even dry yet, and I'm just all tingly all over with the beautiful sparkle of it. Alright, some random petals in here I think is going to be, getting these little goober things in my paint. Must be starting to dry in my bottle a little bit or something, or drying too fast here on my palette. So first I'm just going to go and pick some petals, and then I'm going to come back and do more. You can already see the sparkle on the camera shot there. Oh my gosh. I don't think I'll end up doing the whole, every petal on the flowers, but man, I sure would want to. I think, though, just some random ones is going to be so pretty. Keep it off my leaf there. Unless you want it on your leaves. I don't think I want my leaves to sparkle, so I'm going to keep it off my leaves. Go over here and do this one. This one. Oh, how fun, how fun. I'm loving, loving, loving. I think I might do 3 on this one. Just 'cause I can. I'll do 3 on this one. And I think I'll do this one. Oh, how fun, how fun, how fun. Like I said, you can go and do every single one of those petals. But I just want some random sparkle going through there. And look at my butterfly. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness gracious sakes alive. I could not be happier with that sparkle on there. So I think this one is done. Let's just have a look at it. Get all my stuff out of the way. Oh, look at that. And our handles. This is the perfect beach going to the beach bag. I'm telling you, I love it. It turned out beautiful. Love the colors. Love, love, love the media paints. I can't tell you how much I love them. But just in case you don't know, I really love them. Alright guys, I cannot wait to see your painted bags. Oh my gosh, please send me pictures when you get done. You're going to love this design. Bag comes from Hobby Lobby, and I think it's $5.99. Tag in here somewhere. $5.99. Use your 40% off coupon. What a bargain. And I hope you paint it. I hope you post pictures. If you're watching on my YouTube channel, give me a thumbs up, share, like, leave comments. I appreciate you all, and thank you so much for painting this one with me, you guys. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.